very good morning to my co-lecturer, Madam Haswani Binti Hussain. So today I'm going to present about industrial training program presentation. So I'm Sir Tan Vasu from DBT. My metric number is 23 DBT 19F or 1070. So first of all, I would like to introduce about them industrial training programs and about my place a little bit. So industrial training programs is a necessary for diploma level students in Polytechnic, which cover 10 hours credit along with hand-on reports at the end of internship periods. So the objective of industrial training is expose the student to real work environments and also develop skills and techniques in applications of theory to practical works, which means what they have learned they apply on their real work. Well, the objective of final reports is to document all the activities, tasks, reference materials after completing study. So besides, final reports is one of the ways to provide the evidence of all the activities has been done, all the activities that have been done during your internship programs, training programs. So the importance of industrial trainings is basically to expose you to the real work environment and gaining experience and confidence levels before you enter the real life career, and also alerting you to expose or experience the work stress or the requirements that might be employed prefer. So the organization background. So before we move to organization background, I would like to brief a little bit about my place. So my place is all about tissue cultures and plants. So during my internship period, I was placed into two different departments, which is plant tissue cultures and agrobiotechnology. So during my first week until weeks 11, I was placed in nursery, which is under agrotechnology department, and then the rest was placed on lab organizations backgrounds. So this company was established by Mr. Raymond in 2018, who was our founder of this company, where he initially started with only 2 workers in cultured banana, only a few apparatus and materials that created by their own depend on their costing. So were later expanded by Mr. Michaels, also we call him Uncle Michaels, who was managing director in position. Later introduced or established a new other species of plant to be culture and planting. So the visions and missions of our company. The visions is to create a job opportunity for local or asli as social enterprises company to become one of the best and well-known agrotech center in bioindustry. So the opening of the missions is opening up wide range of employment opportunity for local workers, various race, to help empower orang asli children to education, especially those are in extreme poverty. So involve and work with governments and the privacy agency to develop the biotech industry in Malaysia. So next we move to the technical report. The technical report is the parts where I'm going to explain every activities or my daily tasks that will be assigned to me in 2 different departments. So during my internship period. So I'm going to explain my daily routine step by steps, but I'm organized into the categories. Tissue cultures is departments where the lab take place. So normally we are doing the subcultures, media preparations, sterilizations, dispose to contaminations, and subculturings and observations, and some other activities as well. So first I'm going to explain what I'm this week of week 12. So the first week of 12 I was do observations of the lab structure. Lab structures is all about the structure, how they structure the lab, how they located each of the rooms in the lab. So first is transfer rooms. Transfer rooms is the rooms where during the subculture or the sculpturing was carried out. So in these rooms the temperature was under controls and the rooms were sterile rooms, as well as the culture rooms also the one of the high sterile room. The culture rooms is basically for store all the cultured explants, also under controls of temperature. So while media rooms is a rooms where all the media materials and media apparatus was stored, and all place media was prepared to take place. So well, storage rooms is a room where store all the apparatus, equipments, and stock, a new stock which things are in there. So data entry area is an area where all the data of contaminations, amount of contaminations, amount of stock of plants, and amounts of everyday culture. Next is the sterilization room. Sterilization room is a room where the media was sterilized before they enter the storage room or culture room. So here there are some functions of lab structures, as I've been told you before. Store culture points under control of temperature in a sterile room. So normally the temperature range is between 26 to 28 or 27, something with presence of light to expand culturing. So there are lots of types of plant was culturing in my lab. So here are the plant species: banana species plants, caladium species plant, orchid species plants, air plants, bamboo plant, kadamba. So banana species plants is basically using a shoot types culture where they're using sucker. So the sucker must be undergo surface sterilizations before undergo the initial stages culture. So caladiums is using a tuber as initial stages culture. Orchids, air plant, bamboo, and kadamba using a seed types culture. Periods of explants. Overall explorations 6 months for almost all plants. All explants is 6 months. Okay, comprises with the stage multiplication stages, establishments of initial stages, and also diluting stages before enter the acclimation process. So normally the multiplication stages require 9 times. Less than 6 months for bamboo is the next part, which is media. So there are lots of types of media actually for even one types of species. Okay, for example, we take banana species plants also have more than 3 types of media. A1K, A1 SMA, BX, these are all types of media for banana. So what are the difference between the media? So the difference between media is all about the types of agar used and also amounts of macronutrients, micronutrients, vitamins, and hormones added. So for example, in SMH they're using a Japan agar, while for SMK they're using a Galcocels. Is all agars almost have the same ingredients except for Gero is using a banana, homogenized banana, and also hyponex as a main ingredient. So the Gero is basically for orchids culture. So next we move to the media preparation process. So here are the simple steps to making the media. Making the medium in proper way. So first step, weigh out all the ingredients depend on the types of media. Dissolve the gel gum with water and heat the solution. Next, pour all the ingredients into the dissolved gel gum solutions. Step 4, stirring the mixture until all the ingredients completely dissolved by using heat. So pour into the media bottle and cap on. So when it comes to media bottles, there are more than one types of media bottle. So we are using the text media bottles and jam media bottle. So jam media bottle we have small one and big one. Step 6, sterilize mediums along with media bottles about 20 minutes at 121 degrees Celsius at 15 psi. Next is the sterilization. Sterilizations is one of the ways or techniques that we use to reduce or eliminate the microbes or reduce the risk of contaminations. There are lots of types of sterilization actually, but in my labs there are only 4 types of sterilization. So here, first UV sterilization. So UV sterilizations usually come from the UV lamps that provided inside the laminar airflow cabinets. So I was in labs. I was assigned to turn on the lamp of UV before 15 minutes before the culture works is carried out. Well, next is the heat sterilization. Heat sterilization is the sterilizations of the equipment or some things by using a heat. So normally in our lab, using moist sterilizations, we use a sterilizer or autoclave to sterilize the media. So, and also dry heat sterilizations will be under the aseptic technique. Next is a chemical sterilizations. Chemical sterilizations is all about the sterilization using a proper concentration of the chemical. So first is the ethanol 80%. Ethanol 80% is just enough to kill all the microbes cell walls. Normally used for wipe the lamina A4 before I start my culture or something. And also I'm using to wipe or sanitize my hand before my hand inside the lamina A4 cabinet. So now, and then another one is sodium hypochlorite, 20%, 10%. So it's normally used for surface sterilization. Filter sterilizations is normally come from HEPA filter inside the lamina A4 cabinets. So the HEPA filter will be turned on before the subculture work carried out. Once the UV lamps was turned off. So next we move the techniques, sterilization techniques. There are two types of sterilization techniques, which is surface sterilization techniques and aseptic technique. So surface sterilization techniques is basically about sterilization of explants. So surface sterilization is really required to remove any microbes or contaminant on the surface before we culture. This is aseptic technique. Aseptic techniques is a technique that used to eliminate the possible risk of contamination. So the aseptic techniques that have been applied in my labs is will heat the tools before I start the culture to remove any contamination on the forceps and scalpel. So besides, I'm also will wipe my hands or sanitize my hand before I treat my hand to the A4 cabinet. Contaminations is or any others that makes the plants to have a stunted growth. So the types of contaminations in our labs can be divided into two, which is chemicals and biologicals. Chemicals is basically contaminants that can be released by plants by their own, which might be influenced by environment factors. So for example, phenolic reactions by the oxidation. So when the plants during the phenolic reactions, when the plants was exposed to the light during the culture, the phenolic normally release the plants normally release the phenolic, which not harmful, but the oxidation reaction from the light can cause to be harmful to plants, which can cause the brownish in the media, which later can reduce the growth of plants. When it comes to biological contaminations is all about the microbes that have been absent in the plants or in the media. So the two types of biological contaminations, mostly bacteria and fungi. So fungus and green mold. So bacteria is commonly can be seen through the naked eyes, and also fungi as well. Then possible causes of contaminations definitely is lacks of SOP. The poor of aseptic techniques, where activation of pathogens is about pathogens already exist on the previous subculture plants, but only activated once you transfer to new media. Well, the environment is also one of the causes. For example, when your lab coat, unclean lab. Next is standard operating procedures. So I divided into three categories: pre-labs, during labs, and post-labs. So all these things I was do carefully to avoid any contamination. So, but agrotechnology, I'm going to explain a bit. In my agrotechnology, I was assigned to do planting, watering, observing. So most of times I was doing my observing. So these are the common plants that have been planted in our nursery. So Bentong gingers and caladiums was most. So pitmos is one of the pest soil. next, which is plant disease and pest disturbance. So the common plant disease that normally attacks plants in our nursery is Sigatoka and soft rot. Sigatoka is one of the types of fungi microbes disease, while soft rot is one of the disease either from bacteria or fungi, and red spites are the pest types of pests disturb the plants. So the ways to control or overcome these disease and pest disturbance is only with fungicides and pesticides each end of my end of week. Next is the issues that arise that have been observed during my internship period is overwatering issues and environment stress. Overwatering issues is normally because of lax inspections by workers during the watering process, and also the overwatering issues normally arise on raining time. Stress is all about the light deficiency, nutrition deficiency, control. So next is nutrition supplying. Nutrient supplying is all about you supplying the nutrients in forms of fertilizer, or composting is one of the ways to balance the soil. So I normally assign once or twice per week. Composting is only when needed. So some pictures have been taken from my nursery and lab. Fact. The most amazing fact in my labs is mutations. So the mutations of Caladium species can give you a colorful of conclusions. So industrial training, I was gaining abundance of experience and also enhance my laboratory skills in tissue culture in tissue culture field, and also I have identified my ability and strength towards this career. Some techniques, skills, for example, aseptic techniques, surface sterilizations process. I also identify some of techniques. Besides, and also expose myself to real environment, which make me easier to me for enter the career in future. And also I would like to say my gratitude to supervisor, so helpful during this whole periods of industrial training. Thank you.